enough of that. Okay, so gear update. I'm basically set to raid tank now, and something you'll notice about this build is I'm clearly equipped with two badass fucking fist weapons. These were what I was talking about like months ago when I was like, yeah, once I get two badass weapons, I'll go into enhance. This is the build, so it's different than the other build where you don't take spirit weapons and shit. You actually want this shit. Despite it saying it reduces all threat generated by 30%, the actual amount of threat you generate by just having dual wield actually surpasses that 30% reduced by all threat. And I'm pretty sure you can do it without having to like Wind Fury and Weapon Sync. But Weapon Sync and Wind Fury does way more DPS. But right now I'm just opting for Flame Tongue double weapon. But yeah, if you want like super insane amounts of threat, you go Wind Fury on both weapons, then you weapon sync with whatever you want to use. Like there's a bunch of different methods to weapon sync. That's like a whole other video in itself. Yeah, take a few extra things like here, dual wield, and we got Lava Lash. But we don't go far enough to get Feral Spirit. Well, actually, we are far enough, but we don't spend any talent points on it. It's a nice little talent for like the AoE taunt, the stun, and the fast movement speed. Like we're missing out on that, but it's like whatever. We have to sacrifice some talents to like keep this build. Like we still have some of the defensive talents. With this, we forewent having, I think I had points in Earth's Grasp, and I had points in Improved Shield, and I had points in Static Shock. This build, we don't have that. And then of course, like it's like almost very, very, very close to what enhanced DPS would look like. It's very similar, but there's like a few talents here and there that are spread out that are like obviously tanking talents, but we go far enough in here to get Fire Nova for the 3-second cooldown. Fire Nova to be like, it's a main staple of the current rotation. So yeah, I'm not going to go over all the talents, like I've went over these in many other videos, but this is just the new build. And yeah, basically I'm at the point where I can start actually tanking in raids. Well, I've already like been tanking, but like now I can actually pump like threat, like be an efficient off tank if I'm allowed to fucking go into a raid to off tank. But sure, we have low amounts of armor, but it's like if you're good, if you trust your healers and you're like monitoring your health, like if you're noticing you're dropping a bit low, you just swap back into shield. It's like warrior going from defensive to like battle stance or whatever the fuck. But we're just like offhand weaving basically. Whenever you see fit, pop on the shield, boom, you have like a shit ton of armor. But like basically you want to keep like for the start of a pull, I would say dual wield, have Shamanistic Rage up, and like your trinket, but like let this go for 15 seconds, then once it's about to end, pop this, so you have it for up like a good 35 seconds, almost enough during the whole bloodlust. You want to be like dual wield, and you'll get the most amount of threat, and then you should be so well established in threat by that point that you shouldn't have to stay in full dual wield, but I mean you could. It's just harder on the heels, but at that point you'll be like so far ahead in threat that you can actually go back into which calls it Crystal Shield, and then you could afford to throw in some Earth Shocks here and there if like you don't already have an enhance, or like some other class that like is putting this debuff down for reduced melee attack speed on the boss. You can afford to put those in there. And yeah, I mean the rotation, it's like very similar, not super similar to the DPS. Like top button is Frost Shock, second button is Fire Shock, and then like these are like filler moves like Lava Lash and Storm Strike. Sure, it's nice to get Storm Strike up there, so like you can use your instant cast on Lightning Bolt and shit, but I mean mainly these two buttons, you just got some extra things to press here and there. I took Lava Burst off my bar. Like there's this thing called Lava Burst weaving, but like that involves a bunch of like nerdy ass shit where you're like tracking swing timers and shit. Like I don't really want to have to like do that while I'm already like tanking and shit, like looking at another thing on the side or whatever. So yeah, yeah, that is my updated build, video and build of my Shaman tank, and what you guys probably want to aim towards if you want to like Shaman tank and start having like shit tons of threat. You're gonna need these two bad boys. It's the main thing. And notice that I'm also like 0.1% away from actually being crit immune. I can fix that pretty soon. I plan on getting a second defense rating ring to replace this, but like having the expertise, like you need a decently high amount of expertise to dual wield and get like a lot of threat off this build. So yeah, like get around like 18 plus expertise, somewhere around 20 at least if you're gonna be dual wielding. And yeah, I'm gonna probably also try and get a second piece or my fourth piece for this set, so I can have a 6-second cooldown Storm Strike, which will kind of match up with this totem, which is like the 60% haste buff. It lines up with that, so it's almost like you'll have that 100% uptime with the 4 set from PvP. But yeah, I'll probably get like I'll have to replace these because I believe I get more threat output having expertise and hit rating from this over this. Plus, this just gives up 30 more attack power than this, but gem slots and shit, right? Yeah, I'll probably get the hateful / deadly enhanced legs, and then there's like a ring for 500 gold on the AH that I'll save up for, and I'll get that shit, and then that should like bring my defense rating up to where even when I'm in dual wield, I'll be crit immune. But I mean, I'm crit immune already. Like I just put on a shield, boom, 1.7 plus this. It's like we're over crit immunity defense cap. So yeah, just ever so slightly under defense cap when I go dual wield. But yeah, the gist of it. And yeah, 8 minutes, damn. Anyways, I'm outie.